mission of solving this problem in the world, or catering to this demographic in the world. And then these last three would also go in your second paragraph about why they should love you. So you're energetic, you're highly organized, as demonstrated by what? So that's a big part of it, is you don't just want to say, you don't just want to make a claim and not back it up. You want to tell them how you're organized, how you're energetic, how you motivate people, how you're persuasive. And then a great team leader. So talk about a time that you had to put together a project with a group of people, or a time that you led a team. So the job description, that's the first place you want to look when you physically sit down to type the cover letter. After you've done all your research, pull those key phrases from the job description, and that'll help you write off those first two paragraphs.
Thank you, letters. So after you apply to a job.
Oh, we have a question, sorry.
Sorry. I had a question on the qualifications.
Yeah.
The last slide. So would you go really in depth on like one or two qualifications, or would you try and match like as many that they list? Definitely you'll get people to the interviews.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for this one, they have a lot of adjectives right there, especially in that third bullet point. I wouldn't go for every single positive adjective they use. I would aim for, so in that second paragraph, you talk about the experiences you've had, and say, I believe, or I'm qualified for this position because, and then you can do a list of bullets, kind of like what you see right here. And I would do maybe at most 3 or 4 bullets, and make it the 3 or 4 that you've had the most experience in during your time at NC State, if that makes sense. So just the 3 or 4 that you can talk most about. So don't aim for every single one that they say, unless there's only 3.
Because you want to be specific by bringing in that example, and so if you're just going through your list, you're basically repeating your resume. So just pick out 2 or 3 of them that you can pull a really good example from, and then expound on that by putting in the example. Does that make sense?
Thank you letters. So you always want to send a thank you letter after you have met up with somebody, after you've had an interview. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically who you should thank, when you should send it, and what format should you put it in. So who do you think you should thank in a thank you letter? Tell me. So your interviewers. Who else? People that hired you. Good. Anybody else that you can think of?
I'm talking to someone at the career fair, and they're really interested in the job.
Good. So
Good time.
recruiters. I guess that's the short name for them. Yeah. You can also send it to your networking contacts, who may be the name of the person that you dropped in the very first paragraph of your cover letter. You would thank them. Right? And you can also thank your references. So a lot of jobs will ask for references. You always want to be sure that you're sending a thank you letter to those references as well. And when should you send it? You should send it as soon as possible. Right? As soon as possible, that's really fantastic. If you send it maybe a week or 2 or 3 or like 4 months after you spoke with that person, there's a very good chance that they won't remember you. And the point of thank you notes is to try and, be memorable. And what format? So you can send an email, or you can send a handwritten message. Handwritten messages are really, really awesome to send to your interviewers because it'll make you stand out, and it shows that you're putting a lot of time and effort into this position, and that you're also passionate about it. It shows that you're able to put in that quality effort, which is always what it'll really help you to stand out. So you're always thinking the people that you're sending the thank you letters to, you're thanking them for their time because they're just as busy as you are, right? But they took time out of their schedule in order for you to speak with them. All right, so thank them for their time and thank them for their effort, and always thank them for the information that they've provided. When you're writing a thank you note, also be sure to include that personal touch. So maybe something specifically that you spoke about in an interview, or when you're at a career fair, what exactly it is that you spoke about, just so that way they can put a name to a face a little bit better than you just writing a typical thank you note. So this is the basic layout of a thank you letter. All right, you have your greetings, and it's always formal. So thank you, what's the greeting? Hello, Mrs. O'Donnell. You always want to keep it formal. When in doubt, be formal. Similar to how you should dress at a career fair. Always go nicer than usual. And express your thanks. That's the very first thing that you do. Thank you for. So thank you for interviewing me today. And then specific details. We spoke on Monday and man, this is hard to understand how you guys weren't quick to jump. These sentences. Anyway, moving on. So specific details, like I said before. And you're going to want to look ahead. I look forward to meeting you on Monday again for coffee, or I look forward to hearing from you next week about whether or not I got this position, something like that. And restate your thanks, and then end with your regards. So you can do sincerely for perhaps maybe something that's a little bit more formal, or if you know them a little bit more personally, you can say best wishes, or something like that, but you always want to keep thank you letters formal. Via email. Email is really, really tricky because it's online, you're not face-to-face. In any communication where you're not face-to-face, it's always tricky. Alright, so these are some effective ways in order for you to get your message across with an email. Typically you can, let me rephrase. A person who is hard to reach is somebody that you can reach over email, especially if you can't get a meeting with them in person. Alright? It's great for sharing information that's not time sensitive. All right, if it's really time sensitive, you should always call them, not necessarily send an email. And if you need to send like a JPEG or a really big Word document, if you need to disperse a lot of information, everybody's gotten those mass emails. They kind of suck sometimes, but they're really useful. And it really helps to keep a written record of that communication, which is always helpful, so that way you can reference back to it very easily. Email is not an effective means of communication when your subject is very, very time sensitive. So if you need an answer by tomorrow, don't send an email tonight. That's not a great way to go. Chances are it'll get overlooked. You will, anyway. So if it's really time sensitive, call them. Don't put it in an email. And if your information is highly confidential. So they always say don't send your social security card over email. Maybe not your passport information. That's really confidential. Don't put that in an email. And if your message is emotionally charged, it's really hard to convey emotion through text. Alright? And especially if it's something where you're really upset about it, because it can easily put that person that's reading it on the defensive. And subject lines. Subject lines are really important, all right? You don't want them to be vague and so subject lines are supposed to be specific and they should be concise as to what it is that you're speaking about in this email, all right? Don't have something that's really general, like, what's a good email subject line? Don't say hello. Don't say hello. Yeah, don't say that. It'll get put into the spam folder really quickly. Have something very, very specific, like maybe appointment time for Monday. So your greetings, like I said before, your greetings are always very formal. When in doubt, be formal. So you have some examples here of what are good greetings when doing an email or even a thank you letter, and even for your cover letter. So you have Dear Professor Smith, you can have Dear Dr. Jones, something like that. Dear Hiring Manager, for when you don't know who exactly it is that you're going to be sending this email to, so you don't have a specific name, Dear Hiring Manager is a great way to go. So you always want to proofread your things, right? So same goes for emails. Proofread your emails. Make sure that there aren't any grammar mistakes and that you're actually conveying the right kind of message. And as always, reflect on the tone. So you want to make sure that you're not sounding angry in your email when you're actually happy. That would be bad. Strive for clarity. So you always want to be clear, concise. That's like, those are the two buzzwords for any kind of writing in the professional world. You always want to be clear and you always want to be concise, especially in emails. If you have a long email, nobody's going to want to read it at all. I can promise you that. Somebody who gets like 50 emails a day, if it's more than like 3 lines, I'm done. Trash or archive. Either one.
Okay, so we have a little bit of an activity at the end that we're going to do to just kind of clarify a little bit of what we talked about and make sure everyone kind of understands, or to see if anyone has any questions. So most people I know have their phone that has internet access, so if you do, go ahead and pull that out because we're going to use that. What we want you to do is when you get that out, pull up the internet and type in the website kahoot.it. Up here you can see the spelling, that's K-A-H-O-O-T, and then period, and then I-T. And then hit enter. And it should bring you to a screen that says like, where you can enter like a game pin number. And so if that pops up on your phone, you're at the right place. And then here's our pen number that when it pops up, you want to enter this number. It's 54905. And then when you hit enter, what it's going to do is ask you your name. You can put in just like your first name or something. Because what we're going to do that with is the person who answers the most questions correctly is going to win our little, we have a Career Development Center tumbler, so like a little cup. So that's what that is for. And then it's just going to be, I think it's 11 questions, just kind of summarizing what we've talked about tonight. And it's kind of like a clicker question that you do in some of your classes where it gives you 4 options and you'll just hit whichever one you think is correct. So, yeah. If anyone has any questions or how to pull it up or something, please let me know.
Is everyone there, or does anyone need more time?
It's not working. Does anyone have like the website pulled up? There we go. Perfect. Alright. Alright, does anyone else need a minute or 2 to get signed in? Or are we good? Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone else need more time? You good?
Alright, we're gonna get started. Okay, so it's gonna pop up the questions on the screen, and then on your phone you'll have like the option of clicking at the different buttons for the correct answers. And I think they're like colored related. Alright, so our first question is, which of the following can you not control? Your attitude, how you look on paper, your life, or all 3 of these are controllable?
Also, it's like a race against time. Since there's a timer, like you get more points if you answer it right away. You don't want this tumbler.
Alright, it looks like a pretty good number of people did get it correct. The answer is life. We talked a lot about at the beginning your attitude and how you look on paper, things that you can control in your job application process, but like the random things that happen to you in your life you can't. And as we go through these questions, if there's like one that somebody gets wrong and doesn't understand why, feel free to like raise your hand and ask questions. Alright, so the next question. Before writing a cover letter, what is something that you should not research? The job you're applying for, cover letter templates online, the organization you're applying to, or yourself? answer is cover letter templates online, which it looks like almost everyone got that correct, so good job. For those few people who answered yourself, the researching yourself is just making sure that you know what skills you personally have that could be applicable to the job description in that job, so that's why you research yourself. What are 2 types of cover letters? Networking and application, traditional and modern, standard and situational, or educational and professional. Alright, good job. Everyone's doing great. So the right answer is networking and application. Alright, what does the first paragraph contain? You love me, I love you, let's get together, our contact information. Alright, good job. Almost everyone got it right. I love you. Yeah, so your first paragraph is talking about why you love the company. Alright, and what about the second paragraph? What does it contain? Your relevant skills, why you are unique, specific experiences, or all of the above. But yeah, so the right answer was all of the above. Your second paragraph does contain all of them.
What is that?
Alright, so what's the third paragraph have in it? Your thank you, your skills, name dropping, knowledge of the company. Alright, yes. Good job, everyone. Third paragraph is where you say thank you. Alright, all of the following are true except proofread your cover letter, convert it to a PDF, use to whom it may concern to address your reader, or sign your cover letter. Alright, yes, so good job, everyone got it right. Alright, where should you pull ideas and skills from to include in your cover letter? The job description, your resume, the essential 10, or none of the above. And the essential 10 is like a list of things that all employers search for in companies, so kind of that transferable skill we were talking about earlier. Alright, the correct answer is the job description. Good job, most people got that right. Alright, who should you write your thank you letters to? Your interviewers, your networking contacts, references, or all of the above? Yeah, it's all of the above. Alright, so which of these is email an effective means for communicating? When information is highly confidential, it's emotionally charged and can be interpreted incorrectly, the message is long and complicated, or to get in touch with someone who is hard to reach. Yeah, good job. That's when it's hard to reach that person when you email them. And our last question is, how should you address the reader of your email? Dear Dr. Robbins, excuse me. Yo, Dr. Taylor, hi, or hey, abbreviation for professor. Alright, good job everyone. Alright, so, it looked like everyone got most of the questions correct, so, good. Does anyone have any questions on anything? And by the way, who's Trunchbull? Okay, it's you. Alright. You are our winner of the tumbler, so congratulations. You won the most points.
tonight. Do y'all have any other questions or anything? We're more than happy to answer them now at any point in time, later on. Ms. Lane or Ben would be happy to do the same. We appreciate you coming out.
Thank you all.
And have a great night. Thank you.